Hello. So how do I choose books for my classroom? I first start with books that I used to enjoy reading as a child, and I'll look up those and find those for my students. And then I also go to publishers' websites and look up classics that are age related to my students. But then I also look up books that are currently bestsellers that I think my students will enjoy. And then I also think about interests with my students, like what they enjoy reading, basically from what they've told me in class. And then the last thing that I also look at, when I'm choosing books for my classroom is I look at the school calendar. So basically with the events, not just the school calendar, but also like events around the world. Say for instance, like events like Thanksgiving or like New Year's, so how people from different cultures celebrate those, and then how it's either similar or different to my students' cultures. And then that's how that allows us to discuss what things that they identify from with the books and things that they find different from the books. And that's how I choose books in my classroom. Of how these books represent the culture in my classroom, as I have to be aware that because my classroom is homogeneous, my students are all Chinese, I have to think about how other ways that they are diverse, right? Or when it comes to maybe religion or basically the socioeconomic status. So what I do is with the books that we do in class, I would especially for holidays and stuff like that, I always have my students share their experiences and the different things that they do within their home family structures, right? And then compared to those of the book, they can share what's different or what's similar. And also maybe sometimes I'll even dig deeper into what does maybe Peter do at 7 p.m. that's different to what Amy does at 7 p.m. Right? So that's another way that how their family structures are basically made, they're different. And then what I enjoy about that as well is that I get to learn about the students themselves, because they also obviously do different things. They have different hobbies, and they have all the extracurriculars that they attend as well. And what's also nice about this, because my kids are really avid readers, usually they'll also share things that they've read that's interesting and that they'll find it's related to whatever we're doing or reading in the classroom. So that's how I feel it represents the culture in my class. Every time we read books in the classroom, I try to encourage my students to not only just find the differences that they can compare the cultures in the books that we read to that of their own, but to importantly find similarities, right? That way, it also teaches them about basically understanding that we are all the same, right? Even though we come from different backgrounds, we are always all the same. And I find how I make them, because the thing is, in my classroom I always encourage communication, right? And I always try to make the classroom student led. So what I'll do is I encourage students to share their personal stories that they identify with in the story, and they can give me examples as well. And some of them, because I have a total class, and some of them will also share some of the interesting facts, right, that they've read about other cultures, or something that they'll relate to. Say maybe because things I teach English, and then they'll relate it to maybe Chinese, and they'll share something that they've learned about in their Chinese classroom that's related to this. So yeah, I find that at books that we read in the classroom, I always encourage the kids to find similarities more than differences, because that way it again it stresses the fact that everybody is the same, and we have more in common. At our school, students have a platform that they use. It's called Res Kids, where they can access books online and then also do some comprehension activities to make sure that they understand the book. And the nice thing about this platform is that it's also gamified, so the students really enjoy doing it. But I also found challenges when I was teaching online, is that when I tasked the kids to access Res Kids while they were, because things we use Teams, to host our classrooms. So it was challenging for them to access both Res Kids and Teams to use the platform to read, right? So what I did was I made like a forms where it's basically a comprehension thing as well, where it asks them about the book, about basic details about a book. Then I would download books from Raz Kids and upload them as PDF on Teams. This way, learners still have the opportunity to read as well as like do the same comprehension tasks that they were doing on Raz Kids. The nice thing about this as well is it also like makes like a nice graph where students can like see how many books they are reading, and they can maybe like do a little bit of a competition because they can see also how many books their peers are reading as well. So that's one way that I found to make sure that my kids were still reading online from home. All right, so who's intended for this book? This book is literally intended for the level of my students, and but I also like the fact that it also allows for differentiation. Now, does the text complement the book? It does, in the fact that it has like shorter text, so it's easy to read, but also it also introduces like new vocabulary. So my kids that were of a higher level were also exposed to new vocabulary words, so they were able to like learn and take away something new from this book and at the same time, all of the learners were able to understand the gist of the book. So now, what is my opinion of the text? I actually enjoyed it myself as well because I also like got to learn about other cultures as well. So it was like literally like we are all learning from the book. And strengths and weaknesses, I like that it tells the kids that even themselves, like they can be either monolingual or bilingual learners. Actually, I didn't really find anything that I didn't like about the book, and that's why I chose it, because I felt like the kids could relate to it. Because when I actually asked the kids what they consider themselves, bring it back to the classroom, they're able to like say that say if whether they are bilingual students or multilingual students or monolingual students even, and they were able to give me reasons why and give me examples. Of course, like I also learned that other kids are like learning Japanese, not just like Chinese and English. So honestly, it was a really good book, and I enjoyed doing it with my students.